Live.
Okay, so am I audible? Am I audible, Karthikeya?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining this session from different parts of India. Myself, Polas Mandal, and second year undergraduate of Civil Engineering Department, and as well as the Vice Secretary of VUIC. So, today we have Jhargram. Today we have Maharaj Vedapurushanandaji Swami. So he is the secretary of Jhargram Ramakrishna Mission. Thank you, Maharaj, for accepting our invitation and grace us with your presence. So we can start the session. Our main motive is for Tithi Puja, the another Abirvab divas of Swami Vivekananda. So Maharaj, we can start from your lecture.
Oh, I thought my lecture will be the last item.
Yeah, but
So what is your program for this 1 hour?
Yeah, the lecture will be for 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Oh, there is no other program.
No, there was an invite, an Udbodhani Sangit, but the singer is not available right now.
Oh, I expected some participation from your side because every
Yes,
time
sir.
you hear me speak, but this time I wanted you to speak. Maybe
Okay,
someone
Maharaj.
of you can share what you feel about Swami Vivekananda, just randomly.
Yeah, randomly anyone
what
can
do you
share.
like?
Yeah, randomly anyone can share what do you feel about Swami Vivekananda.
What do you admire in Swamiji? Why do you like him? What thought influenced you? Something about Swamiji in brief. Come, let someone start.
Pranam Maharaj, may I start?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry Maharaj, I am sitting under the this mosquito net. Pranam to all. I would like to feel gratitude to tell and speak my view about Swami Vivekananda. As we have seen in the past, that past or even now, that people of older ages and sadhus, they are like means. Yeah.
You were means 90-degree shifted anti-clockwise. Yeah,
Is it okay now?
Okay. Continue, please.
ओके। और महाराज मैं आई स्पीक इन हिंदी और ऑल्सो
Yes.
हाँ, तो जैसा कि जो है वो अभी के समय में या फिर बहुत पहले भी जो है वो फ़िल्मों में भी जो है वो हम लोगों ने जैसा देखा है कि जो साधु लोग होते हैं वो थोड़ी चढ़ी उम्र के होते हैं और अध्यात्म को जो है वो पालन करने वाले जो है वो मतलब युवा अवस्था में बहुत कम लोगों को देखा गया है। लेकिन स्वामी विवेकानंदा एक ऐसे जो है वो व्यक्ति हैं जो कि लगभग अभी से जो है वो 100 150 साल पहले ऐसे मतलब कम उम्र के व्यक्ति जिन्होंने अध्यात्म का ऐसा उदाहरण दिया हमारे सामने, जो कि जवानी को जो है वो जवानी का एक बहुत ही अच्छा उदाहरण दिया कि जवानी में ही जो है वो अध्यात्म को पालन करके और बहुत ऊंचाइयों तक जाया जा सकता है। वेदांता, भगवत गीता, महाभारत, रामायण जितने भी जो है वो इंडिया के ग्रंथ हैं या फिर बहुत जितने भी जो है वो संसार के ग्रंथ हैं, सभी का ज्ञान स्वामी विवेकानंदा को था। अभी के समय में ऐसा माना जाता है कि जब हम लोग की उम्र जो है वो मीन्स जब हम लोग रिटायर्ड हो जाएंगे तब हम लोग की वो है उम्र आती है। लेकिन स्वामी विवेकानंदा जो है वो इसे जो है वो मिथ को आज से 100 150 साल पहले ही जो है वो खारिज कर दिया था और हम लोग को एक ऐसा उदाहरण पेश करके दिया कि जितने भी युवा हैं उन सभी के लिए एक उदाहरण रहे कि देखो मैंने करके दिखाया है और तुम भी करके दिखा सकते हो। उनके जैसा उदाहरण मिलना मुश्किल है। कहते थे कि गीता जो है वो बस एक ग्रंथ की तरह रख के और उसे पढ़ सकते हैं, लेकिन उन्होंने क्या कर दिखाया, वो कहते हैं कि गीता को समझना है तो पहले तुम फुटबॉल फील्ड में आओ, तभी जो है वो गीता को समझ पाओगे। तो गीता कुछ ऐसा नहीं है जिसे जो है वो पढ़ के और बस दिमाग में रट लिए और उसके श्लोकों को 4 लोगों के सामने जो है वो झाड़ दिए। गीता वो है जिसको पढ़ के जो है वो अपने जीवन में उतारना पड़ेगा, तभी उसका मतलब समझ में आएगा। क्योंकि आलसी लोगों के लिए गीता नहीं है, इसके लिए बहुत ही जो है वो एक्टिव लोग चाहिए जिनके पास वैसी ताकत हो जो उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए अभी जो है वो तैयार हों। तो मैं स्वामी विवेकानंद जी का बहुत ही आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ कि मेरे लिए वो एक ऐसे उदाहरण हैं जिनको मैं कभी भी अपने मेनली पेरेंट्स के समक्ष और भी उन सभी लोगों के समक्ष रख देता हूँ जो कि कहते हैं कि अध्यात्म बुजुर्गों के लिए है। तो मैं कह देता हूँ कि स्वामी विवेकानंदा का उदाहरण और उसके बाद उनकी बोलती बंद हो जाती है। सो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि स्वामी विवेकानंद जी जो है वो मेरे लिए एक प्रोटेक्टर हैं जो कि जो हमेशा मेरे सामने रहते हैं किसी भी मुसीबत से बचाने के लिए। धन्यवाद।
बहुत अच्छा।
It was really very nice speech from Satya Pratap. Can I ask someone to speak?
Maharaj, can I speak something?
Yes, all are welcome.
So actually from my childhood, I have like gone through many like life stories of many manishis. So Swami Vivekananda was one of them. And especially we had a text that about that, like he was a very rational person, like always যুক্তি দিয়ে আমাদের বিচার করা উচিত সবকিছু। তো ছোট লাইক দ্যাট ঘোস্ট স্টোরি লাইক ব্রহ্মদৈত্য, তো ওটা থেকে আমি ফার্স্টে স্বামীজি সম্পর্কে লাইক ব্যাপারটা বুঝি যে উনি কতটা র্যাশনালি থিঙ্কিং করতেন। আফটার দ্যাট আমি জানতে পারি এখানে এসে লাইক অ্যাবাউট সাম কর্মা যোগাস এন্ড আদার স্টাফস। তো কর্মা যোগা তো আপনি মহারাজ ক্লাস নেন, তো like we shouldn't have expectations towards our karma. We should do only our karma and these stuffs also in according to Vedanta, and I have gone through a little bit of them, to be honest, too little bit. So yeah, these are the main inspiration of our life, to be honest, if we read those things daily. And also the main thing that I love the most about Swamiji, that he always told us to think rationally and like without any fear. We should not be too much like frightened about anything. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Very good. Very nicely said. Anyone else?
Okay. So I think no one will speak. Can I speak some
Yes, sure.
two or more sentences about Swamiji? So when I entered in spiritual path, I just started follow Adi Shankaracharya, and then I thought that the viewpoint of Adi Shankaracharya and the viewpoint about spirituality of Swami Vivekananda is more than modern. Like it is modern spiritual view I get from Swami Vivekananda, and the even there are also some similarities and some rather other viewpoints also. So I thought that how Swamiji uh, influenced the youth to come into spirituality, not by force, by nature of itself. So that was I get from Swami Vivekananda, the viewpoint that way.
Very good.
Yeah.
Anyone else wish to share?
प्रणाम महाराज।
Divanjan.
महाराज আমি अच्छा बेसिकली हिंदी में महाराज मैं क्लास 5 से रामकृष्ण मिशन में हूँ, तो मैं अपना जो क्लास 10 तक है तो मैं वो पुरुलिया में मतलब रामकृष्ण मिशन विद्यापीठ पुरुलिया में था, और उसके बाद क्लास 11-12 रामकृष्ण मिशन विद्यापीठ देवघर से किए। बेसिकली 8 साल मैं स्वामी विवेकानंद के परस में ही थे, तो मतलब हम लोगों का सारा जो महाराज थे सर थे, तो बेसिकली उन्हीं का आइडियोलॉजी से हम लोग का मिशन चलता था। मतलब जो पाश्चात्य का शिक्षा और प्राच्य का आध्यात्मिकता, मतलब पूरा मतलब जो यूनियन है वही बेसिकली मतलब आरकेएम का मेन स्ट्रेंथ है। तो एक्चुअली आई रीड डेली, मतलब सुबह में हर समय मतलब 10 मिनट्स स्वामी विवेकानंद का बानी पढ़ के ही स्टार्ट करता हूँ अपना दिन। सो बहुत गहरा रिश्ता रहा है उसके साथ, तो इसीलिए मतलब आज बहुत स्पेशल दिन है क्योंकि आज उन्हीं का बर्थडे है। तो वही कि वो मेरा मतलब हमेशा पास मतलब ऐसे फील करता हूँ कि वो मतलब हम लोग के साथ में ही है हमेशा मोटिवेट करने के लिए। तो वही नहीं हम मतलब हम लोग अगर उसका बात अगर गौर से देखेंगे तो हम लोग अपने आप चार्ज हो जाएंगे, मतलब अपना लाइफ में बहुत ज़्यादा मोटिवेशन के लिए उसके सिवा और किसी को ज़रूरत ही नहीं है। तो यही कहना था बस।
Wow, very good. So nice. Anyone else? Each one of you, whatever each one of you told is very relevant, very apt, and it's so nicely describes what Swamiji is. In fact, I will touch upon all these things in my speech also. So shall I start?
Yes, Maharaj, you can start. I think no one will speak after
Yeah,
that.
maybe at the end if someone wants to tell.
Yeah.
1 minute. It's become very hot here. So, अनित्य दृश्येषु विविच्य नित्यं तस्मिन् समादत्त हि समलीलया सुखं स्वरूपं प्रकरोति यस्य आनन्दरूपं तमहं नमामि. So, a Viveka Panchakam written by one of Swamiji's brother disciples, Swami Ramakrishnananda, begins with this. Anitya drishyeshu vivichya nityam, means the meaning of the Swami Vivekananda, the meaning of his name. This poem is based on the meaning of explaining the meaning what Vivekananda means. Viveka is what is Viveka? Viveka is a discrimination. As someone told you, rationality. What strikes people is the rationality of Swami Vivekananda. So that is there in the very name itself, Viveka. What does the Thakur used to tell? Narayan is like a Kachkula Tarwal. He is like an unsheathed sword. He goes around with his intellect, ready to cut all superstitions, all false things. So our Ramakrishnananda Maharaj tells that Vivekananda is the one who is Anitya Drishyeshu Vivichya Nityam, who separates the eternal from the non-eternal thing, the Nitya from the Anitya Vastu, and remain established in that Nitya Vastu. And being established in that, he is so full of joy, he is so full of Ananda, because that Nitya Vastu, Swarupa of that Nitya Vastu is Sachid Ananda, which is all existence, all knowledge, and all happiness. So Swami Vivekananda's personality, it manifests this knowledge, this happiness, and this presence. So that's how the Ramakrishnananda Mantram, and so pure, Vishwasapalam, and whose main purpose is to protect this world, to guide this world, and Madhuram Yatindram, and he is so sweet, so full of compassion, love for human beings, and at the same time he is the king of Yatis, he is the king of renunciation, of Tyagis. Hitaya Nirnam Naramuti Mantam. Why did he come to this world? He came to this world to do good to it. Hitaya Nirnam, to do good to the human beings, to guide the human beings, he took birth. And to that Vivekananda, I offer my salutation. And in that, the last stanza is what we normally chant. Namashri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Sachit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. So with that, today is the Tithi Puja of this great monk. And we are very fortunate that we have a huge volume of Swami Vivekananda literature. As Devanjan told, he is reading 10 minutes of Swamiji's literature every day. It's very good practice. Small, little, every day if you read like that, maybe after a few years you will find you have covered a vast course. And reading Swamiji's works prepares you to face this world. It arms your intellect with knowledge. You can be able to judge for yourself whether a thing is right or wrong. You cannot be easily fooled by people. You can easily point out whether a right from wrong, a truth from falsity. So that you can easily find out. It equips our intellect, it nourishes our soul. So reading Swamiji's complete works, little by little, one by one, a book by book, is a very good practice. Is a food for our soul. It is the food for our intellect. It will certainly help us in our development of our personality. But reading Swamiji's inspiring lectures, and his poems are so touching. At the same time, it is so mystical also. And his conversations, the Sarat Chandra Chakravarti, Swamiji's complete works is in English, it is 9 volumes, 4,000 pages. But inside it, there are a variety of literature. So we have that his lectures given in India and America, which were taken down almost verbatim. And so which are very inspiring. And then we have his poems written by Swamiji in his where he conveys his innermost feelings, and where we can come face to face with his heart's emotions. And at the same time, some of his greatest mystical experiences he wrote down in poetic form. So there you can get that in his poems. And then in his conversations with primarily with one of his disciples, Sharat Chandra Chakravarti, and then with Sister Nivedita, and with many reporters, both in India and abroad, there will be so much of lively and thought-provoking discussions, question answers. Swamiji covers a wide gamut of human problems in those conversations. And then his letters are so inspiring. In one of the letters, Swamiji himself writes, "He who reads my letters will get my spirit." If you want to know the real spirit of Swami Vivekananda, it is advised that we read his epistles, the letters of Swami Vivekananda. It is a separate book. It is written to his brother disciples. It is written to his disciples in India and his other disciples abroad and his co-workers and with other people in society. So Swamiji himself tells, if you want to catch my spirit, you read my letters. So those letters are available. And then we are so fortunate, we have almost innumerable photos are there. In various stages of Swamiji, we can get so many photos which helps us to contemplate on his form. And as they say, keeping a photo of Swamiji and looking at it itself gives us a lot of strength. It gives us, it's like a tonic to us. It's courage, it strengthens us. So that way also we are so fortunate. And then there are so many places visited by Swamiji, where Swamiji visited, where Swamiji stayed, where his presence is palpable. Of course, Belur Math is there. Belur Math is so close to his heart, where his presence is there. But apart from Belur Math also, the Swamiji had a practice. Wherever he used to go, he used to leave some part of his belonging in that place. Somewhere he will leave a shawl, somewhere his shoes, somewhere his staff, somewhere his other books. So both in India and America, in so many places, we have so many places where Swamiji stayed for 1 day, 3 days, 9 days, 45 days. So like these places, when you go, you feel as if you are in the presence of Swamiji. And then, so, well, all these things, so we may have a feeling, yes, Swamiji is very real. Swamiji is living, and Swamiji he is at our side. In fact, Swamiji himself said that, see, this body has become a nuisance. It has worn out, and because of the tremendous exertion he had taken, and he said, "It is good that I threw it out like a cast out garment," just like the Gita tells. Vashamsi jirnani yada vigaya navani grignati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani degi. Just like you throw away the old cloth and put a new one, similarly the soul also discards the worn out body and takes a new fresh body. But Swamiji tells, but I will shuffle my mortal coil, but it doesn't mean I will move away from this earthly sphere, but I will continue to be present, I will continue to work, and not only work, and he said, I won't cease to work still till mankind finds its oneness with God, till the mankind realizes its own divine nature. I will continue to work. Any person anywhere in the world who is sincerely trying to be spiritual, there Swamiji's blessings is there on him. Swamiji is there at his side. Swamiji to help him, to guide him. So that Swamiji himself tells. So when we speak about Swami Vivekananda, it is very difficult to believe that he was born 160 years ago. See, for example, when we see our own grandfathers, grandmothers, they feel so old. Some of their ideas, their thinking, their pattern, it is all outdated. We tell them there is a generation gap, we say. Within one generation, so much of changes takes place. And they seem to us out of tune with other modern thoughts, currents, the way in which the world progresses. But when we read Swami Vivekananda, what we come across, as some of you pointed out, is so modern, is so rational. At the same time, is so human, also so adorable, so lovable, and so inspiring. It is very difficult to believe that he was born 160 years ago. He is so much present here. We are not speaking about a past personality who lived and died at some time past. We are speaking about a personality who is present here now, who is inspiring us. So that is a very unique thing about Swamiji. But at the same time, do we really know him? And how much can we know Swamiji? Can the ocean be contained in a little container in our hand? So it is, Thakur used to give in the Kathamrita one example. A small bird went to the ocean and took a drop of water from the ocean and returned back. And while returning, it was thinking, next time when I go, I will empty the entire ocean itself. So similarly, it is for us to think that we have understood Swami Vivekananda, and sometimes we can become dogmatic also. And we say, no, Swamiji said this only, Swamiji meant this only. So that we should be very careful how much we really know him, how much can we understand him. Because Swamiji himself told, it takes another Vivekananda to correctly judge what this Vivekananda has done. As you can rightly understand, a lion can understand the strength of an elephant. Can a mouse understand it? So we are just like a small human beings with limited capacity. So for us to completely grasp the immensity of Swamiji's personality is beyond our capacity. But then should we on his birthday, I wanted to just contemplate on his glorious personality. People who came into contact with Swami Vivekananda, who interacted with him, how did they see him? So it is because through their eyes, through the Narayan was one of the Shapta Rishis who came into this world for this Lokahita. So Krishna Christian is telling. And then, and people, when coming into the contact with Swamiji, it's like he was so unlimited. One of the characteristics of the Brahman, the supreme reality, is Ativelam, that is unlimited. You cannot limit it. You cannot define it. Every definition is a limitation. Every characterization, every cataloging is a limitation. You cannot define the ultimate reality. It is unlimited. It is beyond concept. So Swamiji also, people who came into contact with him, they felt it. And they felt that as if there is no end to his personality. It is so immense. It is so vast. It was like an ocean without shores. And it's a personality whose immensity we cannot gauge. So one Swami Vimalananda tells, another Swamiji tells, another one of his disciples tells, I felt Swamiji had immense power. He can do anything and everything. And Sister Nivedita makes a very interesting observation. She says, whenever you meet a person and look at his eyes, what happens is you meet a barrier there, because there you meet the person. When you look at the eyes of a person, then you come to have a understanding about that person. But when you look at Swami Vivekananda, there is no one to meet you at the another side. It is like peering into the immortality itself, and it is there is no limited person to meet you. It is like a boundless consciousness which attracts and envelops you. Another disciple gave an explanation why it is happening. She also felt. So these people, they met Swamiji at different places. They are not in contact with one another, but their experiences are very common. He says that lady, Mrs. Lillian Montgomery, she lived in California. She was a very small, maybe 18, 19 years at that time. And she tells, in some way, there was no limit to his personality. And she very perceptibly observes people, we see them limited because their awareness is connected to their body. They feel I am so and so, I am this body, I am this, that. Their awareness is limited to a limited personality. But in Swamiji, he seems to be connected with that ocean of consciousness, and which focuses, which adds, which has chosen his body as its abode, and through his body, that infinite ocean of consciousness is flowing through his words. And in fact, it was told, when Swami Vivekananda, whenever he refers as I, it is not the little I. The I of is the son of so and so, the disciple of so and so, not that little I, but it is always the Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, which we tell. So that I alone he tells. And every word he spoke was truth. That's what, when you come face to face with these great people, you instinctively feel that they are the very embodiment of truth. MacLeod, Josephine MacLeod, said, the first word I listened to him, it was truth. Second word was truth. Third word was truth. and I listened to him for years together. Every word that he spoke was truth. In fact, when we read his complete works, we also feel the same experience. Yes, every word Swamiji tells is truth. It will ring something, it will ring in us. And then his intellect also, it is so vast. And one famous um, person at that time in California, Ransom Bransby, he tells in Vivekananda is combined the learning of a university president, the dignity of an archbishop, with the grace and winsomeness of a free natural child. Means he is highly learned, as Mr. Wright, John Henry Wright told. He is more learned than our the most learned professors put together. That's the recommendation which he gave to Swami Vivekananda, which enabled him to participate in the Chicago Parliament. So he had the learning of a university president, at the same time that holiness, the dignity of an archbishop, like a man of God, a combination of both the knowledge, wisdom, and also the holiness. And there is no self-consciousness. There is no, because he's so great, there was no that ego is not there. He was so free like a child, so egoless like a child, so natural, so spontaneous. So that's how his disciples saw Swamiji. But disciples all the time, they always see the Guru in a like a Mad Guru, Sri Jagat Guru. So, but what did his Guru himself told? Swami Vivekananda's Guru is Sri Ramakrishna. In Kathamrita, you will find so many passages where the Guru is very eloquent about his disciple. He says, there are so many people I have come to me, but none like him, no one like Narendra. He belongs to a very high plane, the realm of the absolute. Every now and then I take stock of the devotees, Thakur says. Some are like lotuses of 10 petals, some like lotuses with 16 petals, some like 100 petals. But among lotuses, Narendra is a 1,000-petaled one. So like this, Thakur gives so many examples and tells, and see, he has a wonderful power of insight. He, like a shoreless sea of radiance. The Mahamaya herself cannot approach within 10 feet of him. All of us are under the control of Mahamaya. Jnaninamapi Chetamsi Devi Mahavati Chema. Even in the Chandi it is told, even the Jnanis are befooled by this Mahamaya. But Thakur is telling this Mahamaya cannot approach 10 feet of Swami Vivekananda. And another time he says, see, Naren, there are 18 extraordinary powers in him. One or two is sufficient to make a man famous in the world. He is like a blazing, roaring fire, consuming all impurities to ashes. So that was Swami Vivekananda. He himself sometimes aware of his exalted nature. Once after his lecture, a few of his intimate disciples, they were walking back to his quarters, and on that way Swamiji remarked, see, you have heard that Christ saying, my words are spirit and they are life. And he pointed his finger to himself and told, so are my words are spirit and life. They will burn their way into your brain and you will never get away from them. So it is very true. If you read Swamiji's works, Swamiji tells, my words will burn their way into your brain. I will enter into you. I will enter into your brain and you cannot get away from my grasp. And so he will take possession of us, purify us, strengthen us. And so that is the personality. That is one part. So another part of my talk today is the is definition of spirituality, which I think Satya Pratap briefly mentioned in his observation. So Voltaire once remarked, every man is the creature of the age in which he lives. Very few are able to rise themselves above the idea of the times. Ordinary man is a creature of the age in which he lives. He cannot think far ahead of his time. But occasionally the world sees the arrival of certain prophets, acharyas, jagat gurus, who show the path to the world for ages to come. Swamiji himself told, what I have given, what I have taught will be valid, will continue to guide people for another 1500 years. So these people, they with one perspective sweep, they see all that has happened in the past. They correctly diagnose the problems of the present and the potentialities that lies inherent in the present, and they give shape to the future. And this they do by the power of the personality and power which they pour into their words and their organization, the sampradaya that they create. So Jesus spoke, Buddha spoke 2000, 2500 years before, but still their words have the power to change people, to impact us. So that their personality is, they put that into their words and they continue to live and guide the people. And similarly, Swamiji also appeared at a very critical moment in the world's history. So in the 19th century was the advent of the Industrial Revolution. If you remember, in the 19th century was when the Industrial Revolution world, till that time, it was an agrarian economy. It was mainly agricultural based economy from the beginning of time to that time. But from 19th century, first we made a shift from agrarian economy to the industrial economy. And with the just slowly, lot of scientific discoveries were being made and technologies were being invented to make our lives easier. So just at the beginning, at the dawn of this science and technology era, Swamiji appeared. And it was so very relevant that his first appearance in the world stage was at the Columbian Exposition. In fact, we always think about the Chicago Parliament of Religion, but that itself is only a part of the Columbian Exposition, and which was mainly convened to showcase the development that America has made in the fields of science and technology. So there were so many scientific latest discoveries were being exhibited in different stalls. And Swamiji appeared in that exhibition. He went through many days. Almost he says in his letter, he stayed for 10 days at Chicago at that time. Every day he used to visit the Columbian Exposition and see that. And in the 1900, in 1893 was the Chicago Parliament. In 1900, 7 years after that, at Paris, at the beginning of this millennium of 20th century, there was another Paris exhibition. Swamiji went there also. But he's going to these two exhibitions, Columbian exhibition and this Paris exhibition, and he's taking a deep interest in the science. Tesla, Nicholas Tesla, he used to, Swamiji in one of his letters mentioned, I have a scientist who does not have time to eat, who don't catch sleep, but he comes and stands listening to my lectures. He says that Vedanta is the only teaching which can harmonize the findings of modern science with the religion. And Swamiji, in fact, much before Einstein, and the Tesla and Swamiji were discussing how to reconcile this matter and energy and to arrive at a single energy. So that you will find in his lectures. And then Maxim, in Paris, he met another scientist called Maxim, that famous inventor of machine gun and other things. So like that, wherever he goes, he used to put himself in touch with the modern minds and interact with them. And that carries a message. So he wanted to develop a new type of human beings. who can match the potentialities of the modern science and technology. See, now everything is becoming smart. The smartphone, smartwatch, everything is smart. But we human beings, we should also become smart. If we don't become smart, then they will continue to rule us. We will become a slave and they will be the masters. That's what is happening. All these addictions, it is we are the slaves, they are the masters. They are becoming smarter than us, and we are fools. And we forget our aim in life, what we want to achieve, we are getting blindly hooked to them. So Swamiji, as it is to protect people in this modern age, to equip them with the necessary philosophy that will guide them through this the perils of posed by the modern science and technology. Swamiji appeared, and his message is very much relevant in this perspective. So, as one of you told, a common charge about religion is what? Religion is very much negative. It is life denying. Means if you want to take religion, means you have to give up all pleasures, and it is you have to run away from the world, and you have to renounce all your worldly responsibilities. As often it is told, yeah, it is old age only you have to practice religion. Religion is not for the young. So these are the common misconceptions about religion. Swamiji, in one of his lectures, asked, what flowers do you offer to God? Do you offer the fresh flowers, or you offer flowers which are worn out, 2 days, 3 days old flowers? You offer only the fresh flowers. Similarly, spirituality also, you bring the mind when it is very fresh, when it is young, when it has some energy in it to do something. What is the use of offering a mind that has gone through this entire existence and which is worn out, devoid of energy? It is of no use. So religion has to be practiced in the at a young age, and at the old age when the life is already lived. What is the use of learning how to live when your life is almost over? So it is only now you have to learn. So is renunciation is active, it is positive. It doesn't say do not run away from the world. It says face the world boldly. As you must be knowing, the face the brutes. How Swamiji told when he was in Varanasi, some monkeys chased him. He ran away. One sadhu told, "Why are you running? You face the monkeys." The moment he turned around and faced them, the monkeys ran away. So he told, in all the problems in that we face in our world, we should not back off. We should not run away. We should try to face them head on. So face them boldly. And that the moment we assert our divinity, then everything else will slowly melt away. So it is this life affirming renunciation, life affirming philosophy which Swamiji exemplify in his personality, which he advocates towards also. And this is very much in our philosophy. Our philosophy tells, as someone referred to you about the football, Swamiji recommended that unless your body is strong, you cannot understand the message of Krishna. So in the Gita, in the Upanishads also, it is told, Nayam Atma Balahinanena Labhya. This Atman cannot be attained by one who is weak. Weak in body, weak in mind, he cannot attain this Atman. Atmana Vindate Viryam. When you practice spirituality, when you read these spiritual books, when you try to implement those ideas in your life, what do you get? The Upanishad tells Atmana Vindate Viryam. When you read them, you get strength. You get that vitality, that strength to face all problems. So you can attain the strength from some worldly people, what they think their strength lies in their wealth, in the power, in the relatives, in their contacts, but it is all limited. But the strength that comes from within, from our inner soul, that is something very much permanent. It is a higher order of strength. So we should try to, this new spirituality is what Swamiji mentioned. In fact, as I think Satya Pratap told, Swamiji himself, in one of his conversations, he told, see, the sannyasins, the new type of monks which I want, they won't be like the old ones, those who are ash smeared with matted hair and iron tongs in their hands, curing disease by giving medicinal tidbits. So that is the old ideal. But I am presenting a new idea because my guru, my master, his movements and ideas of my master was all cast in a new mold. So I want to create a new type of monks who will be at one moment they will be dressed like a gentleman, they will be engaged in giving lecture. At the other time, they will throw away everything and go and sit on the banks of Ganges and telling Hara Hara Bom Bom. So both they will be able to combine in their lives. So that is the ideal which Swamiji places before us. He says, I have brought the Vedanta teachings which were lying in the jungles and in the Himalayas and restricted to a few selected group of people and also enshrined in a language which very few people could understand. And that I brought it and made it a common property of the mankind. The knowledge of the Atman, the knowledge of the inherent divinity, that within us is all power, within us is the all strength. The moment that is awakened, then Swamiji told, power will come, glory will come, excellence, all that is excellence will come when the sleeping soul is raised to self-conscious activity. And Swamiji told, that is my life's purpose, that my ideal of my life can be put together in a few words to preach unto mankind its divinity and make it manifest in all walks of life. So, and he was so full of joy. And another common misconception is when you are becoming spiritual, it means you should be very serious, very morose. You should not laugh. You should not mix with others. Nothing like that. Swamiji himself used to tell so many jokes. He used to, one of his brother disciples, Swami Premananda, tells, see, when Swamiji was there, even in his casual light talks, we used to get so much joy. But now, even in meditation, we are not getting that joy. And finally, this is very important point, which one of his disciples, Sister Christine, told. Say, our conception of spirituality was not only clarified through knowing Swamiji, but transcended. I think all of us will agree with what she has told. Our conception of spirituality was not only clarified through knowing Swamiji, but it transcended, it expanded. And spirituality brings life, power, joy, fire, glow, enthusiasm. All that is beautiful and positive things, never inertia, dullness, and weakness. See, it's a very important point. If in the name of spirituality, if you are becoming dull, if you are becoming inert, if you are becoming weak, then it is not spirituality at all. You are mistaking something else for spirituality. If it is truth, if it is spirituality, then it should bring life and power, joy, fire, glow, enthusiasm, all that is beautiful and positive, harmonious nature. There won't be any jarring note. So that is the test of real spirituality. And so Christine asks, then why should one be surprised to find a man of God with a power in an unusual degree? Why should we associate spirituality with emaciation and anemic weakness? In the West, spirituality means wasting yourself physically and indulging in austerities. Even in India, we have that. But Swamiji gives a new spirituality. And Sister Christine says, looking back, we wonder how we could be so illogical. Because spirit is life, spirit is Shakti, it is the divine energy. When you are in touch with that Shakti, when you are contemplating on that Shakti, which is the source of this world, then you also become powerful. You do not become weak. In fact, Swami Thakur also gives that example. And by even commonly worldly people tell, by thinking about God, we go mad. And Thakur told that day and night you think about worldly things, inert things, material things, and your consciousness remains good, and I think about God, who is the source of all consciousness, and I go mad, how can it be? So it cannot be. So when you think about this spirit, when you try to live a spiritual life, then all that is positive, all that is beautiful, all that is strengthening will come into your life. If it does not come, then you should have some retrospect. You should try to think. Do I have time or should I stop now?
No, Maharaj, you can continue.
Yeah, just one more. So actually, I wanted to tell 3 points. One thing is something contemplation on his personality, and the second thing was the new definition of spirituality which Swamiji gave to this world, and it is not confined to just to monastic members, not to few hundreds, thousands of sadhus. That is the spiritual ideal which he placed before everyone. He said, "I want to spread it, scatter it to the world, so that even a very child can understand and follow it, apply it in his own life." So that is the second. And the third important thing which I wanted to tell now is second time when Swamiji went to the West, he was traveling in a ship. Sister Nivedita and Tuyanandaji was along with them. To Sister Nivedita, Swamiji told, "See, the older I grow, more everything seems to be in half of their life, they spend their wealth in getting back the health. So first off, you ignore your health and you are engaged in money making, and the last portions of your life, all the money you have, now your health has gone, you spend that money to get back some health. So that's what our human life is. So health is very much important, because religion is not for the weak. And so many stories, I think you all know. Once a young man came to Swamiji telling, "Swamiji, I wanted to become a monk." Swamiji told, "Can you lie? Can you steal? Can you do bad things?" And actually, he was a weakling. He was a weak person. And Swamiji said, "Say, you are good for nothing, fellow. You cannot even do a bad thing. So doing a good thing is something beyond your capacity. First, you develop. See, the wall does not tell a lie. A cow does not steal. But you human beings, they make mistakes, but they can also overcome the mistakes and become divine. So that vitality should be there. So the very essence of man making is the control of mind. Again and again in so many talks, Swamiji emphasized this. If you don't have the control over your mind, then you cannot be called as a human being at all. So to that extent a person can control his mind, to that extent he becomes great. Swamiji tells in two places, he tells to that extent he has faith in himself, and to that what is the thing that differentiate one person to another person. Is Swamiji tell two things. One is faith, another is concentration. A man is different, higher than another man, to that extent he has faith in himself, and to that extent he can focus his mind. It is these two things differentiates one person from another person. Potential is the same, but actual thing depends on the self, the Atma Shraddha, and this faith. Atma Shraddha, and the another thing is what I told, the concentration, the focus.
Yes.
This is very much important. And when we speak about character building, what does character building? In one of his lectures, Swamiji gave what brings success. It's not much known about that. A very small 1 or 2 paragraphs is there in the computer, in the complete works. In that lecture, Swamiji points out 5 things. One is self-effort. Second thing is self-reliance. And third thing is self-mastery, the power of attachment and detachment, and above all, selflessness. Success, to become successful in life, you should have self-effort, you should have self-reliance, you should have self-mastery, you should have that power to attach and detach your mind from anything, and above all, you must be selfless. So these define our moral character. This is what we should try to attain in our life. In another place, Swamiji himself tells, see, when I use the word man making, I do not mean books or dogmas or theories. I mean the man who has realized, has fully perceived something of that infinite presence in his own heart. A real man is a person who is aware of his exalted nature, who believes that he is not this tiny, puny human being. He is something very vast. Inside him is something very precious, something very powerful, divine, luminous thing is there. So he should come in contact with that divinity, and that may take a time. He may receive blows, he may get knocked down, but he should not be afraid. He should not be afraid of failure. He should keep on trying, and slowly, he will move forward. And so Swamiji says, get hold of the self, stand up, do not be afraid in the midst of all miseries and all weaknesses. And so you always assert yourself that I am Brahman, I am Brahman. So like that, there are so many inspiring thoughts. You cannot keep on speaking on Swamiji for days together. But finally, just on this day, we should just remember what Swamiji told, the famous Swadesh mantra. At the end of the Swadesh mantra, Swamiji tells, O Gauri, the mother of universe, vouchsafe manliness unto me. O mother of strength, take away my weakness, take away my manliness, and make me a man. So on this holy day, let us make this resolution that let us shed away all our weaknesses, all things unworthy of our own exalted nature, and renounce our weaknesses, and let us try to be a true son, a true disciple, a true follower of Swami Vivekananda. I very sure Swamiji's blessings is on all of us, and he loves young people. In fact, he is told, it seems I have to come back again and again because I have fallen in love with man. And so I cannot, he is there in our midst. And the best way of coming in contact with Swami Vivekananda is by reading his books, contemplating his teachings, and trying to help others. Selflessness, that is the very essence of Swamiji's teachings. So trying to be as much selfless as possible. So unselfish, loving service has the power to unlock all these spiritual virtues in us. So on this day, let me pray to Thakur, Ma and Swamiji that they may guide all of you in your future life. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your enlightening.
Swamiji, I have one question.
Okay. If anyone have any question, you can unmute and ask.
Today, let us not have questions. No, this is not a class thing. So whatever thing you just contemplate with yourself. And okay, Satya Pratap, you ask afterwards.
You ask.
Yes.
Okay, Swamiji, we will discuss it in next class.
No, next class you tell now itself.
Okay, Swamiji, but I have a question related to one Upanishad. May I present my screen? So, स्वामी जी, ये वाला जो 23 नंबर जो श्लोक है, तो इसमें जो है वो पूछना है हमको कि इसका मतलब हम ये समझे हैं कि जैसे जितना भी यम, नियम, आसन, प्राणायाम ये सभी है वो बंधन है. तो हम जो डेली एक्सरसाइज करते हैं तो क्या वो भी बंधन है?
Which book is this?
ये है निरालंब उपनिषद.
Yeah, that is the problem. Actually, there are books which preaches yoga, which preaches bhakti, all the 4 yogas, and every book will tell that their path is the right path, and all the others are not right. So we should not get confused by that. So you should not compare one with the other. Say, for example, Advaitis, they won't believe that we are in bondage itself. Why do you want to do this art? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. You do this for what? Because you think you are bound and you want to become free. They tell you are not at all bound. You are always nitya mukta. So thinking that your bondage itself is false. So give up this notion that you have to do something and become free. You are already free. You have to realize that. So the teaching is different, the approach is different, the path is different. We should not confuse one with the another thing. Okay,
Okay, Swamiji.
good.
Yes, Maharaj. That also cleared one of my doubts.
Okay, so let us stop here. Keep well. Thank you.
So Karthik is stop recording.